It was a beautiful Tuesday morning in St. Paul, Minnesota. There are people out there who consider themselves to be adrenaline junkies. They have no problem jumping out of airplanes or parkouring off of skyscrapers. This has become a pretty normal lifestyle choice, and those of us that don't enjoy that kind of thing like to sit back and watch, hoping that they don't kill themselves. But what this raccoon did is something we've never seen before, and it had the entire internet watching in suspense. The birds were singing, the sun was shining, and people were on their way to work. It started out as a perfectly normal day. No one expected that by the day's end, they would be rooting for the safety of the raccoon. This little raccoon had decided that he was ready to put his climbing skills to the test. You see, he had been training for a while in the woods, climbing up the tallest trees he could find. But he just wasn't being challenged enough. So he decided to head to the city to climb the biggest building he could find. He found the tallest skyscraper and began to climb. All of a sudden, people from down below began to watch his descent. He wasn't expecting attention from the humans. They typically just ignored him or chased him away with a broom. But people weren't ignoring him this time. They began to gather outside, holding their breaths as he continued to climb. The raccoon never would have thought that humans would take the time out of their day to watch him. He always figured that they just like to watch the cats, his arch nemesis. As the raccoon began climbing higher and higher, people began to root for him on the internet as well. His story was all over social media, claiming the hashtag #NPRRaccoon. Now the raccoon really needed to give them a show. He couldn't disappoint his fans. More and more people began to gather to watch the raccoons climb. He had done this 1,000 times by now, and he was ready for it. Imagine the excitement those humans would feel when he made it to the top. Mr. Raccoon was fueled by the humans' attention and was motivated to make it. After a while, the raccoon realized how tired he had become. He knew that if he didn't rest, he wouldn't make it to the top. And he would disappoint all of his new fans. As much as he wanted to keep going, the raccoon decided to take a little nap. Once he woke up, he noticed that all of the climbing made him really thirsty and a bit hungry, too. So he decided to ask one of the humans if they had any food to spare. Unfortunately, the windows on this building didn't open, so they couldn't give him anything. That's when the humans brought in their reinforcements. The raccoon assumed that they underestimated his incredible climbing skills, so he decided to have a chat with the man at the window. After all, how often does a raccoon get to speak to a firefighter? The raccoon explained that he had been training for this moment for his whole life, and the humans had nothing to worry about. He was determined to make it to the top safely. After his nap and the chat with the fireman, the raccoon began to climb. Once again, the internet was going crazy. After his nap, they weren't even sure if he was okay, let alone ready to keep climbing. He would be the talk of the forest this time. The other furry creatures wouldn't make fun of him ever again. Eventually, it began to get dark, but that didn't stop Mr. Raccoon. He thrived in the darkness of the night. He continued to climb higher and higher. The internet held their breath, afraid that he would fall to his death, but this raccoon knew better. After spending many hours scaling the building, he finally made it over to the top onto the roof. The internet roared with applause and praise for the little climber. As they all cheered for him, the raccoon breathed a sigh of relief, proud that he stuck with it and did what he set out to do. Way to go, Mr. Raccoon! Your friends and family should be proud. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.